Welcome people of the internet, it's me KMD. Welcome to another Dead by Daylight video. It's been a hot minute since we made an overall game discussion video. We're mostly talking about Dread recently, and I think there has been a topic I've been avoiding talking about for a long while that I wanted to talk about someday. So hey, let's get into it. For a long while, I've been thinking about the whole concept of a casual player, and I was analyzing people voicing their opinions on social media and in the DBD community in general, and I feel like I have analyzed enough and I can create two distinct groups of people now. I also asked my community on Twitter for some additional feedback, how they see a casual player versus a not so casual player that thinks they're a casual player. And I think I can give some traits to a real casual player, at least in my opinion. So let's get into who do I think is a real casual? What are the personality traits of a real casual? What is their mentality? Well, let's get into it. So I believe that real casuals have a really low commitment to the game. They mostly play Dead by Daylight, but they are really flexible in what they play from on a day-to-day basis. They don't really play only Dead by Daylight. They play a variety of games, or Dead by Daylight is that's not as important to them as a different game could be. It just happens that Dead by Daylight was the first game they really thought of to play. Real casuals also play for their subjective enjoyment of the game. And while yes, this applies to probably most Dead by Daylight players, there's a very big distinction here between real casual players and fake casual players. They play for subjective enjoyment of the game, but they stop when they feel frustrated at the game. They just close the game and they don't continue playing. I think another thing that can describe a casual player really effectively is unless they're a creator themselves, they don't really engage with the community, devs, or content a lot. They don't entertain the idea of balanced discussions. They don't really even read patch notes in some cases. They kind of just play the game when they want to play a video game. They don't really think too deep about what is actually going on with the development of Dead by Daylight too much. They don't really go on Twitter, they don't go on Reddit in terms of engaging with actual nuanced, balanced discussions. They mostly stick to the sites of fan art or fun videos, animations, stuff like that. They enjoy the world of Dead by Daylight. They don't really care about the actual competitive side of Dead by Daylight, like balancing and stuff like that. And another thing that comes with not caring about the competitive side of Dead by Daylight is not caring about the result of the game. If you face a real casual player, they will not care if they win or lose a match of Dead by Daylight. They will simply say GG and go next and not even say anything, because there's a lot of quiet players to my knowledge that don't say anything. They just instantly go next because they just play the play. And again, if they don't play for the result, then they play for value out of their build. They play for a specific challenge. Maybe they just want to do quests. They don't really care enough if they, for example, make it out of the match as survivor, or their team makes it out as survivor. I mean, to be fair, they don't also throw the game, but you know what I mean. Or they don't care how much kills they get as a killer. They play for their own goal. They don't really mind the actual competitive result of the match. Another thing that relates to the whole don't engage with the community, don't entertain balanced discussions is they mostly stick away from the meta and play whatever they want. You will never see a casual player only exclusively play meta killers unless they really enjoy a killer and they made them. I don't think a real casual player would stick to playing Blight purely for the power fantasy. I mean, winning feels well, but again, in my mind, a casual player doesn't really care what happens in a Dead by Daylight match unless they, have fun. So I feel like you will not see a casual player go into a match as an S tier killer with 4 slowdown, or a survivor with 4-second launches and exhaustions, stuff like that, and an OP medkit because they want to win. No, they just enjoy running that and it's okay. And again, it's not gonna be mostly what they play. They will play a variety of stuff in Dead by Daylight. In my experience, casual players mostly pick everything in the game. When I was a casual player, below 500 hours in Dead by Daylight, I was a pure casual player. I played literally anything. I played 50-50 killer survivor. I played several survivors, but survivors are skin, so it doesn't really count. I played literally every single killer in the game. I'm pretty sure I have my trapper main arc. So yeah, you can tell I didn't really mind if I won or lose for the first 500 hours of the game. And I only started getting more competitive once I picked up demo. And I cared about well, I'm a demo main. I want to be be a good demo main, so I want to win my games, you know? Another thing about real casuals is that they don't really care about improving. They like to sit in their bubble of like just not knowing the all ins and outs of the game. They don't want to like bother their mind with, oh, I need to like do this to survive this scenario. I need to like sit on this gen right now, or I have to go for the pool now. No, they just kind of do everything on a whim, in my experience. Again, as like most of the points in the real casual section here imply, casual players really do not care what happens in a match as long as it like fulfills what they want out of a match. That isn't winning the match. You know what I mean? Because it, like, again, this whole video isn't about like cool competitive players are bad, because I'm a competitive player. So I'm not saying that wanting to win a match is bad per se. I'm saying that a casual player most of the time will not have a win as their goal. They have small side objectives that they want to fulfill over the main goal of the game. If you don't run meta, if you don't care about improving at the game, I think you're just a casual in that scenario. And again, if you really care about winning, why are you not going to improve? So I think that's a strong trait of real casual players, that they do not care about like getting better at the game. They just kind of sit in their small bubble, which honestly I can respect. Like, knowing so much about this game really really puts a toll on like how much we have to remember in a match. Just by like playing killer, for example, you have to remember so many perks. Same on survivor side, you have to remember so many counterplays. You will judge yourself as a competitive player if you fuck up something easy. So not knowing that is kind of a boon, which I really respect. And alongside not running meta, I feel like casual players are like the main audience for meme builds. While I really have a big disdain for Seagull because of accessibility reasons, these are the guys to run it. These people run this stuff. These people run like quad head-on with Pebble, Autodidact, stuff like that. Like, this is the main like audience for the meme builds of Dead by Daylight. Like, I think around the Nick Cage release, they said that they're trying to design perks around one overall solid perk, one fun perk, and one perk for the competitive side of the game. I think that's what they said in that one interview when Nick Cage came out, and they specifically stick with the builds that are made for fun. Real casual players, in my experience, and you know, just by looking at the charts, because we kinda know that most of the audience of Dead by Daylight are like the casual players, because there's not enough people on social media for Dead by Daylight to like compare to the player counts, you know? So most casuals play around events and modifiers. That's when the bar on Steam charts and like player counts in general goes up, and that's when the casuals are like the most prevalent, because it's a really social time for them. The game embraces the casuality of their preferred playstyle, and it just goes ahead. Hey, this is not the sweaty game, I guess. Like, there's the competitive players don't control like the 4v1, which I'm not saying is a bad thing. But yeah, this is the area for you, and like you mainly. I know the game is aimed at competitive players at this point, but this one part, like temporary game mode, is for you. This is built purely to be fun. This is not meant to be balanced. Have some fun. And a third point that also relates to like not caring anything about the game, not running meta, stuff like that. Casual players don't care about getting outperked and don't care about strategies in general. Again, it comes with not giving a shit about not giving a shit about whatever happens in the game. But I think I should probably mention that, because, well, they don't have meta shit, but they like gonna complain if like they get like quad DS or something like that. Well, we're about to get to that. So we went over in my eyes at least, a real casual player base. The mythical 70k people that play this game and don't engage on DBD social media, right? Well, see, there are people on DBD social media that call themselves casual players, but for some ridiculous reason, they completely 180 what I just said. The word casual in general, to my knowledge at least, I actually might want to check this right now, just to be sure. A casual player is a gamer who plays for fun, relaxation, or to pass time rather than competition or high-stakes achievement, based on the great Google overviews. Thank you, Alphabet Incorporation, for ruining Google. But like, this is probably like the most agreed upon definition of a casual player, so I'm gonna stick with it. Like, these people contradict completely that statement. These are what I call fake casuals. Here are the traits of a fake casual and why they grind my gear so much. They only play one side of the game, and they think that only one side, the opposite side of their game, needs changes. They will never call out any bullshit on their side unless it is used to justify the other side's broken shit. So for example, you have something like, well, why are you surprised that like killers are playing like Blight, Goal, and like Nerf and like Dracula, I guess, when like every single server is like quad second chance and like quad exhaustion, Wiggle, Unbreakable, Like, dude, what the fuck? Why are you, like, blaming me for wanting changes for the opposite side? This is the only thing we have to counter that. These things cannot be changed because if you change this, we won't be able to do anything about them. Sorry, what if we change their stuff first? Listen here, you entitled survivor man, like, go fuck you. Like, I'm not trying to generalize everyone. But when I hear, like, most of the discussions about, like, oh, the toxic survivors have this and this and this, and the toxic killers have this and this and this, like, are you aware of what's on your side? Like, I'm not, like, gonna say, like, oh, I don't hate Sprinburst. I think Sprinburst is, like, the stupidest fucking perk in this game right now and should be probably, like, grinded down in a wood chipper. But that's besides the point. Like, I actively voice that while acknowledging that there's some stupid stuff in the game. I am the biggest hater of Blight. I do not like Blight at all. I like his gameplay, I guess, but I hate his strength. Like, Blight should be gone, like, yesterday in terms of, like, the S tier placement. What are we doing? But see, like, the crowd that I'm talking about does not call out the strong side on their side unless it is used to counter the argument of the opposite side. They will call out, like, this is the only thing we can do to counter the opposite side stuff. But when, like, time comes around and the other side's stuff gets nerfed, they will never mention to nerf the problematic stuff on their side of the game. This will never happen. Because, why would I give feedback to help my opponent in a PvP game? That makes no fucking sense. What the hell? They will try to gate this information as long as possible to let their side be the power role of the game. Which, actually, I will skip some points and get to the point I just mentioned. Killer should always be the power role, / a survivor should always be able to run a killer for 5. This is the most ridiculous thing ever. If you play Dead by Daylight in big 2026, expecting a immersive horror experience where the slasher is always gonna win in the main mode of the game, I know that I'm mentioning that specifically because someone's gonna comment about my Lights Out video. I still stand by that. But Lights Out, again, is a fucking modifier. In the main mode of the game, the killer should always be the power role. He should, like the killer should always win every single game because he kills people, you know, he murders people. And on Survivor side, it's like, well, every single killer ability should be counterable enough so I can, like, outchase the killer for 5 gens. No killer should be weak enough to be run for 5 gens. No survivor against any killer is supposed to run them forever. At some point, the chase has to end for equalization of chances. That's why Bloodlust is in the game. You know how miserable was playing Dead by Day when Bloodlust was, like, there was an experiment to remove Bloodlust from the game for, like, a week? That shit was miserable. Keep in mind, like, shift tech is a thing in this game, which I'm not against. Shift tech is very skill expressive. But shift tech counters Bloodlust. If you don't know what shift tech is, it's basically abusing the line of sight of the killer to not trigger chase, but you can also, like, fast vault windows, but you don't trigger chase because technically you're not sprinting when the killer is looking at you, so you don't trigger chase. So they gain the Bloodlust and the windows don't block, for example. But like aside from that, Bloodlust is required to get survivors down. And even with Bloodlust, several killers struggle to get these downs. They can and often will be run for 5 because of stuff like God pallets. You have to break some pallets, it will reset your Bloodlust count, and you will be run for 5. This should never happen. I play a killer that can be run for 5. The only reason a killer, like, cannot be run for 5 against, like, 4, like, skillful survivors is because killers know to switch out target. And if there's 4 survivors that can run, like, for 5, then you just kind of, like, are like, in an endless cycle of dropping chase, and you just don't win on, like, half the cast. And again, coming back to the power roll argument, this is not making killer the power roll completely, because it forces you to engage with the 4v1 of the game, not only the 1v1. So to reiterate, a killer should not always win and be the power roll, and survivor should not be able to counter everything a killer does, because a killer has to end the chase at some point so they can contest other survivors, and the match is balanced. And it's dependent on what? It's dependent on how fast the other side progresses the objective, like keeping in mind the strategies of the opposite side to prevent that progression. Survivors can be really altruistic, take hits, and do as best as they can to delay downs and hooks and chases ending. The killer can run slowdowns, can tunnel, slug, camp to put as much pressure on the survivors as possible. If you get a down near a hook, that's 2 survivors that have to go off, because if you're in the area, you don't get anti-camp because slugs prevent the resolve bar from charging up. 2 survivors have to get off the gens to get a save, which is a fair thing in the game because it's on survivors to not fuck up on getting a save. If someone's camping, do gens and wait for the resolve bar to fill if you're in pubs. I'm sorry. And if you're playing in comp, then, like, that's a whole different scenario. Like, to my knowledge, you just kind of have to double up save on, like, like last second on like the stage, but I'm not too sure about that. My point is, none of the roles in the game should be always able to win every single time, even if they're skilled enough. Sometimes the chase gotta end, and sometimes the killer has to be shit on. That just doesn't make a fair experience for either side. Another thing that really boils my blood about fake casuals is that they go out of the way to play unoptimally while their main source of the enjoyment of the game is winning a match. And they're not convincing anyone that it isn't winning a match. Like, we know. Like, if you go ahead and play Demogorgon, our low tier killer, and you run 2 chase perks and 2 slowdowns, one of them is not corrupt and one of them is an M1 perk, I'm afraid you might not be able to win that match. I think that might not be possible against like very good survivors. I think for the Demogorgon minimum 3 slowdown. I know that Demogorgon needs changes, but if your only source of adrenaline in the game is winning, then don't play suboptimally. Like, if you cannot bother getting enjoyment out of anything else in the game, like for example, I get enjoyment from getting cool shit on Dredge. I love getting melee teleports. I love getting peaks. I love like 8 hooking people. 8 hooking people is really entertaining for me. Even if I don't get kills, like 8 hooking is so engaging because in a in a better like quote unquote balanced DBD, I would win a match there. I like the MMR would reward me for like having several hooks because I think hooks are more expressive than kills, but yeah, no. Like, if you can, like, I'm not saying you cannot complain about, oh, demo is weak, can we buff Demogorgon? I'm not saying that. I'm saying that if you can only have fun in the video game by winning, don't play suboptimally and then complain that you didn't win a match and you didn't have fun. Because I'm sorry, but it's just the case. If you want to play a low tier killer because you enjoy the low tier killer, you have to deal with the fact that you have to run stronger shit on them, so you can even out the chances. I used to be a Demogorgon player. For Demogorgon, I believe there's no way you're not running free slowdown and winning consistently. Like, do you know my all-time kill rate on Demogorgon right now? Keep in mind, like, half my stats are like going for the website for whatever reason. I don't know why. It's like 40%. I was not even a bad Demogorgon, I was just not running strong shit. So, like, I was playing the power crept killer, and I was not running stronger shit, so I just kind of kept losing. So my point is, like, don't stop complaining, like, don't stop wanting changes for a killer. My point is, if the only way you can have fun in this game is by winning, run good shit, and don't cry when you play suboptimally and you lose. It's like running speed limiter on Baba and complaining you don't get a 4K. Like, you're nerfing yourself. I get the want to, like, play with anything and win, but that's just not realistic on most of the cast. Like, we can ask the developers and like hope the developers do something about it to make it more realistic, but again, if your main enjoyment source is winning a video game, play to win the video game and don't complain about the game not being fun if you're not doing anything to have that fun, you know? Like, if you find enjoyment running meme builds, then focus on the meme build itself, not getting value out of the meme build in terms of like competitive victory, you know? Oh, this is a good one. This is something that like everyone and their mother knows, but I have to mention that anyway. Cole strategy is toxic. Well, I will expand on that besides tunneling, sagging, and camping. Gen rushing is not toxic. Hit taking is not toxic. Farming is not toxic in some scenarios. I'm kidding. Turks aren't toxic, obviously. It works for both sides. If you want to not have survivors complaining about tunneling, slugging, and camping, which is artificially building up pressure by employing a strategy, don't complain about the survivors employing a strategy to gain pressure on you by doing the objectives fast, delaying your downs, stuff like that. It works both ways, you know? Like, it's not only killer that can work with strategies and not have anyone complain about them because that's like pissing you off or something. You have to be equal. That's kind of like a basic concept of justice and, you know, equality, you know. Oh, BM. Do I even have to talk about BM? I think we could just like leave this out. Like, fake casuals love to like talk shit in game chat because who doesn't like a complainer about like gen rushing or tunneling in their endgame chat when you even didn't do either of them? They just didn't play their macro correctly and didn't tunnel at the correct time. They didn't commit to a gen at the correct time. They didn't pull at the correct time and the teammate got second. Like, who doesn't love a good salty endgame chat or a good teabag or like, I don't know, like kebab on hook because you misplayed and you have to like get mad at a video game character or even sometimes someone across the screen for the reason of being bad at the game. Oh, this is one that might sound like I'm a shell, but checkmate, at least not yet, I'm not in the content creator program. Fake casuals hate behavior with all of their guts. No matter what they do, they despise that company and these developers so much. And keep in mind, I don't. I'm not saying that like this is reasonable, but I'm gonna say who. But I saw like a guy go over the survey for the killer balancing survey, the one where they allow you to pick a killer and you can talk about the killer you main, why you like them, what you want to see changed about them, one killer that you don't play anymore, and if you didn't pick killer almost always, you can also talk about a killer you don't like facing out of 4 that I provided for you. I'm pretty sure they also deny you like the killer main and the one you don't play anymore if you pick survival almost always. I'm pretty sure. Not too sure. But yeah, someone was like going over that survey being like the most disingenuous to behavior as possible. Like, I think the survey was a really good step forward for behavior to listen to their killer community a bit more and actually like employ changes that killer mains, like killer one-tricks want for their mains. And I think that was like a great survey. I wrote a lot about Dredge in that survey, obviously. Yeah, and hopefully like it will actually bring some good balance into the game. But the second like behavior mentioned survivor as like a word in that survey. That guy got so pissed off. And like, oh, they're already talking about like making survivors like broken, like already nerfing the killer. You know, like they and like with the launch question, they encourage you to buy the killer when they're broken, and they're gonna nerf them 2 weeks ago, and they're gonna steal their money away because it's a scam. Like, people are so disingenuous to behavior in the fake casual community. Like, actually, they will never give them a chance to improve. Like, at this point, I don't know why they're even playing the game. From a developer they hate like completely, and they don't let them improve. Like Eric Pope could become Santa and like go give out presents to children at kindergartens, and someone would find a way to twist that in a way that demonizes Behavior Interactive as a company and as a game developer. You know what I mean? Like, again, I have some stuff I can like complain about in terms of Behavior and how their priority system in development works. I think bringing back Steagle in like a form of increasing the odds of the Easter egg is just a waste of dev time, and also promotes the idea that like the ableists that employ that playstyle to just make people overstimulated are in the right. I think that's really disappointing from them. But like, I'm not calling them ableists. You know, I am willing to like give them a benefit of the doubt. I am giving them constructive criticism when I can. I'm not calling any of the devs specifically stupid. I'm not insulting the devs themselves. I think people high up in the company have some issues with like prioritizing which changes should come first, what the game needs. I think that's very problematic, but I'm not like calling like for the guillotine, you know, unlike what the fake casual community like often does. I don't hate the company. I just don't like what decisions they make time to time. And when I see that they're trying their best to make some good changes to the game and change their mindset a bit, I celebrate that. When they said at the community stream after the 9.3.0 PTB that they're walking that back, they're gonna try to pressurize less about patching out tunneling and slugging and more about making the new player experience better by like making better tutorials, MMR fixes. I was ecstatic. That's like the most requested thing I have ever had for Dead by Daylight, is to, instead of forcing out strategies out of the game, make people knowledgeable how to counteract them. Ignorance should never be a form of counterplay or like a form of stomping every mat. Like, if people knew Dredge counterplay, I would not have an like almost 90% kill rate on them right now. Behavior Interactive, as much as you want to believe it, fake casual community is not your enemy. They want the game to be the best for everyone, but sometimes they make bad decisions. Sometimes they work to make that decision better by making better decisions and fixing everything around that bad decision. If you don't want to give them that chance, then why play the game? Why stick around to a developer that in your eyes is pure evil and cannot make a good decision in their life, you know? For someone that doesn't really care about the whatever happens in the game based on the definition of the casual gamer, fake casuals are really interested, to say the least, in balanced discussions. Even if they call themselves casual, which by definition means that they don't care if they win or lose a match, they are really interested in calling everything overpowered or underpowered, starting us versus them wars, stuff like that. Which kind of seems ironic by the fact I just started a competitive and real casual versus fake casual war, but I feel like one of the parties here is acting in bad faith for the sake of it, so I don't think it's really us versus them. It's more of a call out to people that don't care enough to let the community and the game improve. But maybe I'm the bad guy here, I don't know. But if you don't care about what happens in a match, why is your opinion on balance important? I personally think the game should not be balanced around casuals, because by definition, you don't care what happens in the game, you don't care about the result of the match, so let the competitive players that do care about that decide what happens in the game, and you just enjoy the ride. Like, events happen pretty much all the time. We almost never have a single queue unless it's a really big break, and Behavior forgot to put on a modifier between them being out and in the office. So you have your fun game modes. 2v8 is gonna be permanent at some point. I think that's pretty guaranteed. succeed if they add all the killers economy to game mode permanent, which I'm not a really big fan of, but I'm prepared for that possibility. So if you don't care about the result of the match, if you don't care what happens in the game because you're so casual, why should we take your opinion into consideration? I'm not saying that your opinion is invalid, but if you don't care about improving at the game, winning the game, I'm gonna say the third time. If you're casual and you don't care what happens in a match, why engage about discussions about how we should balance the game to have them winning the match most rewarding for one side or the other? You know, I'm not trying to call your opinion invalid. I'm just saying that if you don't care, why engage? We talked about macro, and I think we should expand the point. Fake casuals have no conception of macro. They do not know about the word even existing, I'm pretty sure. If you don't know what macro is, it's basically the 4v1. Micro is the 1v1, it's the chase, it's all that happens within like the interaction between one killer and one survivor. Macro is basically your gameplay strategy, your game sense, the 4v1. You versus 4 survivors. You're pressuring on gens, your hook state management, your camping, slugging, tagging strategies, whatever you want to call that toxic, I don't really fucking care. It's basically your strategy for the game, how you play out the match, how well you know and are aware of the situation in the match. Basically, everything that should be in your mind while you're chasing a survivor, like in the back of your mind, and that what comes into the main aspect of the match while you have a survivor hooked and want to move to a next one. It's basically what you want to do to win the game. And fake casuals think that the game purely focuses on the micro aspect. They do not care about managing their hook states, managing their gen spread often. They will freedom themselves for free. They will farm in front of the killer because, well, if a survivor has a prompt next to them that says unhook, I should probably do that. Killers don't care enough to recognize when they should tunnel, so they will chase someone for free gens, they will hook them, move to a different survivor, and then cry that they, well, what can I really do? Like, the game was finished like 50% in like 2 minutes. What the hell? That's unwinnable. Like, disregard the fact that the gen progression stuff, like the big toolboxes that they brought into the match, they already used all of them and they have 0 charges right now and they don't have build blast, so you cannot do anything about that, and like the game will just progress at a normal pace right now. If you just tunnel to force the 3v1, ignore that. Like, no, that doesn't exist. That's like propaganda from survivor mains, or like the compies. Fuck the compies, you know? Fuck those. I don't want to tunnel to win, even though I should, because it's a valid strategy. And it's a scenario which you do when you are low on pressure and need to gain pressure fast. No, fuck that. Fuck tunneling, fuck slugging, fuck camping, fuck pre-janning, fuck everything. Fuck on rushing, fuck everything. I'm the best. I win chases fast, so I should win. XZD. Oh, speaking of compies, they will do everything in their power to make fun of competitive players. Fake casuals feel like they're so superior than the competitive players because, well, I don't take the game so seriously, unlike them. I don't care so much about the video game. I play to have fun. I don't play to win. But if you dare to like gen rush me, I will like rip your guts out, you know? Like, why are we shaming people for wanting to win in a fucking video game? Why do you care about the ones and zeros so much that are on your screen? Like, you say yourself you don't care about winning or losing. Why do you care about people wanting to win or lose? How does that affect you? Okay, you will face like a force slowdown blight, but you said you don't care what happens in a video game. You're a casual gamer. Like, that comes with the name. Like, you're a casual gamer, dude. Just don't care. Like, you don't want to be a competitive gamer, right? You don't want that. Like, the compies are so bad, dude. By the way, like, big because like if I'm talking in a tone similar to that, I'm assuming you know I'm sarcastic. Like, I'm just being funny for the sake of being funny. Like, I don't actually hate fake casuals. I feel like they're being very disingenuous towards like the devs and the community, and I feel like they're doing a harm to the game by encouraging the developers to cater to them instead of actually people who know what they're talking about. And hey, I won't say like I'm the most knowledgeable person on the DBD community because I play mostly killer. I play survivor as a casual. I don't care what happens in a match with survivor because I'm a casual on survivor and a competitive killer. You get what I mean? Like, if I go into a match, I might complain as like, I am in a match of DBD right now, I feel emotion, I will complain in the match. I get out of the match, I see the endgame screen, I don't give a shit. Like, on survivor, I don't give a shit. I'll just say GG and go next. On killer, I might be annoyed by like a build or like a something after the match credits, but like the second I press the continue button, who gives a fuck? Unless the survivors are faced with like toxic in the endgame chat or like just did weird shit in the game just to piss me off. That's are not strategies, that's like actually like taunting. Yeah, like I will call that cringe. Who cares? Tilting the killer is surprisingly a very effective strategy because if the killer is tilted or the survivor is tilted, they will play worse. I'm not encouraging tilting people, but it works. Oh, this is something that you might call me out on right now because it feels very hypocritical, but fake casuals love to complain about people complaining while by complaining like in the same way as the complainers are complaining about. Do you get what I mean? Like, let me visualize this better for you. Player A says, I don't like facing the ghoul, I think we should get some nerfs. Player B, fake casual, says, survivors just complain all the time, dude. Like, they're so fucking pissed off at everything. They, like, hate killers so hard while they have all this busted stuff. And then the player B goes on a tangent about anti-tunnel and, like, exhaustion person stuff. So, like, again, it does not, like, seem like a discussion to me. It just seems like you are developing so much time into, like, engaging in a conversation that isn't really worth your time. Because, like, if someone says, oh, fuck this guy, knock this guy to the ground, and you don't agree with that, then say, hey, I think we shouldn't do that because this and this and that makes this killer fine. Don't go ahead and say, well, you have all this busted stuff, so it's okay. Like, I don't like using stuff that isn't related to the topic as an argument. Like, if someone says, oh, Swimburst is, like, broken and, like, stuff, I won't say, well, we should keep this because Blight exists. I will say, yeah, I agree. Let's nerf that and let's put, like, Blight into the grave to make this a fair trade-off. Both sides are happy. By the way, like, all of this is built on bullet points. I'm like, you can probably tell, like, this is just a big rant. I don't have like a script. So if I accidentally say something that doesn't really make any sense, call me out in the comments and I'll explain it to you in like a reply. It's okay. And for the final like trait I would give a fake casual, they hate big streamers and big creators because big content creators tend to have opinions that are more often than not, or at least most often they try to be very equal in criticizing both sides of the game. They will criticize both survivor and killer, and the fake casuals on one of the sides will call them offensive or a shill for the other side because they criticize them. For reference, look at the whole shoulder burden and the burden mechanic situation with odds. Basically, like any opinion that odds said that could turned into a gameplay mechanic and people are accusing odds of like changing the game. The syringe thing with hands, it happens all the time. But yeah, this is how I would describe a fake casual. The point of the video is to encourage people to be real with yourself. If the only way you enjoy Dead by Daylight by winning, you are not a casual. If you cannot enjoy Dead by Daylight for the stuff that's already in the game and you care very much about the result, you're not a casual player. I was very rambly. The editing me is really gonna hate me because he will have to like make sense of what I was saying and go through the repeat takes and stuff like that. But thank you for watching. If you guys agree with me or not, then give me a comment. I want to discuss that with you. I just wanted to voice my opinion that has been sitting in my mind for such a long time. Several months, maybe even over a year. I just don't like people who are fake in general, I would say. So thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this, you can like, subscribe, it will help me anyway. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye, internet.